Hey guys, this is Green Warrior 291. I'm here with a review on episode 5 of Kenobi, or part 5. So the beginning of the episode is probably quite a treat because it's a flashback to a certain point in the prequels with young Anakin and Obi-Wan from his episode 2 hairstyle having a training session. During this little training session that starts, we go to present time being with Vader. They have found Kenobi, and he makes Reva the Grand Inquisitor. Yay, I guess. Yeah, I don't care. Anyway, during this, Hadja makes his appearance. He's like, oh, well, I'm wanted now. I wasn't wanted before, now I am. Now I understand how Jedis really feel. So, there's that. Kenobi goes and notices some symbols on the wall, and then he finds like a stack of lightsabers. One of them makes me think that it is Windu's. I hope he's not around because, he kind of has to stay dead. And then they realize that the Empire's there, and that's because Lola kind of just locks them in. And then we go back to the flashback that is important for this episode, as that version of Kenobi is telling Anakin that he is too aggressive and that he needs to be mindful. This comes into play later. So basically, Vader sends in Reva for some reason, and a ton of stormtroopers. They all surround the back door, get ready to smash into it. Kenobi kind of just gives Hadja the responsibility of Leia for some reason, and then he goes to see, but before that, he goes to see a hologram of Bail Organa, kind of being like, hey, how are you doing? I know we're not supposed to talk, but I just want to say, if something's wrong or something had happened, then I'm gonna go and protect Luke and then go to Owen and Tatooine. Like, I'm not kidding. He gives so many details that you have to question, what is the logic Bail's going here? If the Empire had captured Kenobi and listened to this, I mean, honestly, what was the point of Bail even revealing anything? He should have just talked in code. Something they would understand, but whatever. Apparently, Bail's just dumb up now. Anyway, Kenobi goes to the back with them. He talks to Reva. Basically, here's the reveal that, she was there when Order 66 happens, which explains why she knows who Vader is, but also trying to be sympathetic on the sense of the show giving us that, look, she's not truly evil. Look, she suffered under Vader, despite us having a similar character in the Jedi Fallen Order, and she was actually way more competent than Reva. Anyway, they basically talk. Kenobi's like, I can help you get Vader. Playing with her emotions, I guess. Though it's funny that Vader, spoilers, but Vader does know that Reva has a grudge on him and knows who she is. And yet he still lets her just roam around, which I find it funny. So we definitely get a flashback, or a teeny tiny flash of just Vader there about to strike her down, or stab her. And then her like, if I didn't have anyone, well, I don't need you, because apparently she can do everything on her own, which would be impressive if I just didn't dislike her. So opens doors, blasting all around, Kenobi showing off his skills, and then Allah sacrifices, and the robots sacrifice themselves so everyone could escape, which I was telling this to Geek the other day, but I was saying she probably would have been more worth of a sacrifice in episode 4 when it came down to like giving an impact that, hey, saving Leia has consequences. And her dying in this episode made me think, well, I mean, it's not like I wanted her character to die, but it's just funny that I kind of made a note of her death would make more of an impact. And she did die. Anyway, we got more of the battle between Anakin and Obi-Wan in the flashback. Anakin's overpowering Kenobi, And somehow this flashback kind of prompts Kenobi to surrender himself, because that's the only way they'll be able to escape somehow. Funny, imagine if Vader was the one attacking Reva. He would most certainly be dead. So he does surrender himself, and Leia manages to almost get the thing to open. But while that's going on, because Leia's in the vents doing that, he surrenders, Vader's on his way, and then suddenly they take him away. Instead of taking Obi-Wan to the ship, they just take him back inside. And I think that's just incompetence from Reva. Just complete incompetence. We go back to the flashback. Kenobi is barely holding on. And then he does lose his lightsaber, with Anakin being like, it's over. And it's like, Anakin, you don't need victory. It keeps blinding you. Which, by the way, Anakin does look way too old to be 19. And then we flash forward back to Vader. He's just walking like a menace, being like, where is he? Because, you know, he wants to kill Kenobi. And she says, well, we secured him. And obviously Kenobi's escaped. It's just, he's running. And then after that, eventually, finally, Lola appears to be hostile. And then Leia just basically beats the little robot by just grabbing it and then taking off the little tracker. And then Vader goes inside and finds that, well, he's escaped. Whoop-de-doo, though. I mean, what else was going to happen? Anyway, she was able to help get the doors to leave the place to open. So everyone's just starting their crazy evacuation. And during this, Haja drops the communicator. And it breaks because someone steps on it. And then Vader goes in and does a Starkiller-like thing where the ship is trying to escape, and he just grabs it with the Force and just brings down the transporter. And then in a Empire Strikes Back way, the other transporter just flies off, and he just watches. Similar to he watched the Millennium Falcon just leave. And then we go back to the duel where Obi-Wan wins. He just steals the lightsaber from Anakin and uses the Force and some karate, I guess, to beat him. Just to prove that it's not all about like pure lightsaber. I will make a note here. It is pretty cool seeing Hayden Christensen back as Anakin. It's just, couldn't they use de-aging? Because he looks way older than expected. Kenobi. Enough to fill in episode 2 of Kenobi. But Hayden, a little de-aging is needed. Anyway, Vader's mad, and then Reva starts screaming as she's going to try to kill him, only for Vader to just use the Force and stop her. As Vader just uses the Force and kind of blocks every attack. She does the spin thing, and that doesn't work. If anything, he stops it, grabs the lightsaber, breaks it, and that'd be like, here, you get one final shot. And then proceeds to wreck her. Which, what do you expect? Aside from having actual plot armor, he is Vader. I mean, come on. He is, like, one of the strongest characters. So, no one was gonna beat him. And then, after having basically disarmed Reva, there was a small flashback going into how the Order 66, and showing small Reva getting stabbed along with present Reva. And then after having been stabbed, we get the reveal that the Inquisitor never died. The Grand Inquisitor was always alive, which is like, I mean, come on. The dude is literally in Rebels. I mean, what to expect? Not to mention how he mocks her, saying, well, goodbye, Grand Inquisitor, just kind of mocking her. And I will make a mention that Vader should have just honestly killed her at that point, or that stab should have killed her, no less, in both the past and the present. Before you mention, well, the Grand Inquisitor was stabbed, keep in mind that alien analogy is different, but Reva's clearly human analogy, and that stab would have killed anyone. Now, we do have characters like Maul surviving getting cut in half, but then you have Qui-Gon getting stabbed. You definitely have a Kid Fisto's Padawan getting shot. You have Savage being double stabbed. You have other characters who have been killed like this. Why is Reva still alive? That is just grinds my gears, but whatever. It was still cool seeing her get wrecked the way she deserved to get wrecked. Now, after they leave her and not decide to make sure she's fully dead, she crawls around and then finds the hologram. And this makes me think, Bail, why did you send the message? Look now, she's gonna head towards Luke. But yeah, logic be damned. So Kenobi sends something off that something's wrong. And now granted, she doesn't know about the whole children stuff. She just knows Ben, Tatooine, child. That's it. So we know she's heading to Tatooine. And Kenobi and this transport are still flying. They can't go into hyperspace because of reasons. And then we get a showing of Luke Skywalker. Now, this episode is 8. Would have been a 10 if Reva died. But no, she's still alive. The hologram thing is dumb, because Bail should know the risk of doing that. And then, I mean, the flashbacks are pretty good. They're fine. It's just my gripe with the episode. It's just how they're trying to make us sympathize with Reva when that's not needed. Look at the second sister. She was evil, and she was justified to being evil. And yet, her redemption is literally just...
You have failed me, Inquisitor.
Avenge us!
Vader just... Look, he shows the badassery here. It's just, he should have just finished her off. No point in keeping her alive. That's my gripe.